Welcome to the Real Film Nerds Podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another spectacular episode of the Real Film Nerds Podcast. I'm your host, Matt Hinshaw, and as someone put on my Facebook the other day as one of their favorite quotes of mine, I am the hostess without the mostest.
Mostest? Mostest. Okay.
Yep. So as you heard, with me as always, my good buddy, my friend that lives on the other side of the earth, Mysterious Mike.
Hey, everybody.
So, Mike, this week was a very good film that I was anticipating for a little while. Not a huge while, but a little while. And I went and saw it with a special guest, which we could get into later. He's supposed to record a little bit of a review for us, but I'm not sure if he does or not. So we will wait and see if he actually sends that to me by Monday evening so I can put it in. But anyway, so Mike, what movie are we talking about today?
So we watched Operation Finale. It's about a team of secret agents who set out to track down a Nazi officer who masterminded the Holocaust. It's directed by Chris Waits. Matthew Orton is the writer, and it's starring Oscar Isaac, Ben Kingsley, Melina Laurent, and Nick Kroll. So what did you think of this one, Matt?
Dude, I love this movie. I thought it was really good. But I guess I can disclose it because I don't know if I've talked about it before in a podcast or not. But I am a huge history buff. Huge. I love history. I think you know this about me as well, Mike. But I actually, in college, took history classes just because I thought they were fun. Yeah, I know. That's sick. I enjoyed writing papers about history and learning about history for fun.
Yeah, I don't know if I knew that actually, Matt. I don't think you talked about that. Yeah.
Oh,
that really,
I thought I told you that.
Actually just put you down a notch in my book. Like you were like super nerd heaven level, and now you're like medium.
Really? So liking history brought me down, even though I took a bunch of history classes for no reason?
Yes, it did.
See, I would think that would take me to another level of nerdism.
No, I don't. Well, maybe. I don't know.
Because history is something that most people don't really enjoy.
So, what is your favorite history class that you took in college? Which one was it?
Oh, dude, this one, it's a tough one because I had a few that I really, really enjoyed. But I was an idiot my sophomore year when I was still in computer science and engineering. I think you know this about me too, but I basically went to school year-round until the day I graduated. So that means I took summer school and I took winter session. And winter session at ASU back in the day was basically living hell.
Yeah, it's like 2 weeks, right?
It's 3 weeks, yeah. And so I took winter session 1 year, and I took the class because I really wanted to learn about it. It was the history of the Vietnam War.
Ooh, man. Okay.
We read 8 books in 3 weeks.
Man.
And not little books either.
Yeah.
It was
history books.
It was ruthless, dude. But that class was so frickin' fascinating. So I would say that one or the other one I really, 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 really enjoyed. I think I probably enjoyed it maybe a little bit more than Vietnam War one, just because it's a subject I didn't know much about. I knew quite a bit about the Vietnam War, but not at the level that I do now. But this other subject I knew next to nothing about was the history of the British Empire.
Oh, cool, man.
And that was fascinating.
Yeah, man. They at one time, I think, were all over the world. I mean, they still are, but man, yeah, that would be neat.
Not really one time, Michael. Basically through the majority of the history of, I guess you would say, European dominance, it was almost exclusively Great Britain running the show. Now, not always. There was little things like Napoleon and different things like that.
But flare-ups of some resistance and some things.
Right. But basically, the UK ran the world. Like, no ifs, ands, or buts. And it's incredible how they did it from this tiny little island. And basically the reason, there's many, many, many reasons why they were able to achieve such dominance. But the biggest reason is something you probably wouldn't think about. Oh, maybe you would now, being an adult and things like that. But what do you think is their biggest reason why they controlled the majority of the world?
I'm not sure, actually. I don't know. I really don't.
Oh, dude. It's real easy. Their Navy.
Oh, okay. They just...
No one could touch their Navy. They would roll in with their ships and just dominate. They would dominate trade. They would dominate taking over the country. They would move their soul. I mean, it was just freaking relentless.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense. That actually, yeah. I mean, if you're going to try and dominate all over the world, you would need to have an amazing navy, and the British Empire did.
Yes, for a very long time. So anyways, not to get too off topic, but basically to sum it all up, I took a lot of history classes in college because I quote-unquote thought they were fun. My freshman and sophomore year of college, I was taking junior and senior level history classes, and people were like, what the hell's wrong with you? And so my senior year rolls around, or I'm getting ready to roll into my senior year, and my guidance counselor goes, do you realize you have a history minor with just taking one class, you have a minor in history? I'm like, no. She's like, okay, what I need you to do, and this is going to sound stupid, but I need you to sign up for History 101.
Nice.
So my senior year at ASU, I was in History 101, and everybody hated me because I was coming into the class drunk, I was coming in hungover, and back then they had this little thing called curves, and I wasn't paying attention to class much. I mean, I did my work and I did my homework and stuff like that, but I was drunk a lot or hungover a lot because it was early as shit in the morning. They were trying to weed freshmen out.
Right, okay. It was a weeder course.
It was, yeah. And so I would come in and I'm like falling asleep in class and passing out and stuff, and I'm setting the fucking curve on this thing. And people just hated me. They just hated me. They're like, how the hell is he doing this? And I'm like, I'm just here because I'm trying to get this thing that attaches to my full diploma.
Nice.
So anyways, needless to say, moral of the story is I am a huge history buff. And I think part of that also helped fuel my love of photojournalism, because I always felt like I was documenting history when I was doing my days of photojournalism.
Oh, yeah.
Or I still do.
All right.
I still do them now. I just don't do them every day like I used to.
Oh, okay.
So,
yeah, that makes sense. Okay. That ties in pretty nicely.
So, ending all of that, I loved this movie. This is a story that I personally don't know a whole lot about, because when you learn history and you're taught history, it's mainly the big events. Now, don't get me wrong. This is a huge event in history. Massive. But it is not on the scope of, say, the war itself, the founding of the United States, things like that.
Yeah.
But it is still a massive piece of history that I knew a little bit about. And I think this movie really opens up your eyes to it, especially since after the movie, just before we started recording this, I was watching a few programs about the actual Operation Finale, and that's what they called it. That is honestly what they called the operation to get him, was Operation Finale.
Yeah, I thought this movie was pretty neat. It is awesome to hear these different stories. Now, I know there's been quite a few stories about Holocaust and stuff, but I mean, it really did affect millions and millions of people. So we're going to keep seeing these stories. And this was just an amazing story about how they had to try and get this particular guy out of the country, and what they had to do, and all the planning, and how things kept changing and falling through. And Oh, it was cool. I liked it a lot.
Well, one of the things that why you want to study history, and I know people say, why do I want to study history? History's so dumb. It's so boring. The biggest reason why history is taught in school and why it is something you want to study is because you need to learn from people's past mistakes. Now, having films like this in the mainstream media played by a couple of our top tier actors today helps that. But basically, telling this story will keep people from repeating these events. Or that's the goal. That's the goal. This was massive genocide, man. Massive.
Yeah. No, it was. This movie somewhat reminded me of a movie that I just watched recently, right around Christmas time of last year, was the Darkest Hour, about World War II and Winston Churchill. It was really only about 2 weeks or so in his coming to be prime minister, but it was crazy. The just the amount of stuff that you see and just the decisions that these people have to make and how things go. It was such a great movie, and this one was just as good. So I really enjoyed this.
I loved The Darkest Hour, man. I really wanted that to win Movie of the Year last year, and I knew it wasn't going to, but I really wanted it to. I loved that movie. Now, this might be a little controversial, especially saying it to you, but I think The Darkest Hour was way better than Dunkirk. Dunkirk was a good film. They are wonderful companion pieces, but I think how your parents did it, by watching The Darkest Hour first and then watching Dunkirk, I think they got a hell of a lot more out of Dunkirk than I did.
Yeah, I think that I kind of wish those movies came out in reverse order, because that would have made it better to watch them. Now, I don't know if that was planned. I doubt that was planned at all. I think those just movies happened to coincide. I don't know. But
I think it was a coincidence. I don't think it was planned whatsoever, because they're completely separate movie houses, completely separate production companies, everything.
Yeah. Dunkirk was a well-done movie, but it's not... The Darkest Hour is better. But I love Christopher Nolan, and I'm sure his next movie will be awesome. So it was just... He did a lot of work towards making it very realistic and getting the real planes and the real ships and, all the, he doesn't like special effects, so he does all the, practical effects. Yeah.
That's one thing I do applaud him for that film. I loved Dunkirk a lot, but as you know, I've discussed it with you in the past. The final scene where the Spitfire literally laps the beach multiple times, that just ruins it for me. That whole thing just ruins it for me, because it's so not true.
Oh, you mean he can't coast for like six times, like gain some altitude, go back down, gain some more?
No, dude, especially a warbird like a Spitfire. I mean, basically when you run out of fuel on one of those things, you're going down. Like, you're not going down in a ball of flames, but you're going down a hell of a lot faster than a sailplane. And that last scene with the Spitfire, where Tom Hardy's going back and forth up and down the beach, is like a sailplane doing that. And I'm sorry. I know it was for dramatic effect and it's a movie and all that shit, but that just... But I do have to say, I do applaud him for having real Spitfires and having real Stukas. And when the Stukas are doing the dive bombing on the beach on the soldiers, that's really what they sounded like. They had the screams and the sirens, and it was all intimidation factor. I mean, I was actually talking about that at the airfield the other day.
Yeah, no, that's cool. But
so, Mike, Operation Finale. Sorry, I interrupted you. Go for it.
Yeah. Back to this movie.
Yeah, I was just gonna do that.
We've gotten kind of off topic here, and I haven't even brought up Star Wars yet. But
no, of course not.
This was a well done movie. I really liked Ben Kingsley's performance. He was just top notch, and Oscar Isaac was great as well. This was a good movie. This was a good movie.
I would say 98% of this movie was fantastic. I loved it to death. There's a couple things that bother me. I don't like to be the wet blanket, but I almost always have something that bothers me nowadays in films, since doing them semi-professionally, reviewing them now. I guess I'm just getting super nitpicky. I don't know. But the two things that bothered me in this movie was Nick Kroll's acting was atrocious. He's a great comedian. He does some fun stuff, but his acting in this movie was rough, dude. It was real rough.
Yeah, well, he's not in it a terrible amount, so I don't know.
Well, his face and who he is so well known outside of this. I don't think it helped any that he wasn't doing a good job. I think it being who he was made it worse. I don't know. I like Nick Kroll. He's fun when it comes to comedies and stuff, but he needs to work on his drama chops a little bit.
Yeah.
Quite a bit.
Yeah.
And then the second issue I have, and it's not a big one, because Ben Kingsley is the man. He is an incredible actor, but I wasn't sure what he was going to do about this. But it's a little tough seeing a British accent come out of a German character.
Oh, yeah, I guess.
Now, he tried hard. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure he tried hard to bury his accent as best as he could. And there's a few scenes where Ben Kingsley has a really good, believable German accent. But for the most part, throughout the film, when he's talking, he still has a little bit of his British, twang, I guess you would say.
Yeah, well, I don't think, that didn't bother me at all. I was more about the content, and I didn't even nitpick that for once, so I don't know.
Right, and that's why I'm saying 98% of this movie is incredible. Just those two things are what I found to bother me in this movie. Other than that, I freaking love this film. My favorite scenes, and it's not a spoiler. I don't think we're going to have spoilers in this because, how the hell do you spoil a movie that you know what the end result is? But
right.
My favorite scenes by far, and I thought they were incredible, and if they at least don't get a nomination, I will be surprised, is Oscar Isaac and Ben Kingsley when they're doing their interrogation, getting to know each other kind of stuff, were just amazing.
Yeah.
I loved them.
Yeah, no, they were really good. I think that's definitely my favorite part of the movie, how they interacted and stuff. And just seeing the tension between, because Oscar Isaac's trying to get the character to do something, Ben Kingsley to do something, and you can tell that he's fighting all this, raw emotion to just try and do this one thing and not do what he really wants to do, which is, take him out. And
right. Because
you felt it. You felt it in there, and that was awesome.
Yeah, and I have no idea how he did it. I have no idea how he was able to pull that out of the viewers, but he was. I mean, I don't want to go into why you feel the tension, but as you know, Oscar Isaac and the rest of the cast play basically Israel's equivalent of the CIA agents. And this is the late 50s, early 60s.
I think it's 1960 or so.
I think the first operations where they started finding out about them might have been like 59, 58, something like that. I don't know. It might have just been 60 because this went on for a while before they actually moved in on him because they were doing all the, recon and everything and trying to make sure it really was him and all that stuff. So that takes time.
Right.
But the outfit that Oscar Isaac and the other main characters, basically other than Ben Kingsley and a few of the others, which they blatantly say they're Nazis, they're all the equivalent of Israel's CIA. They're spies. They're interrogators. They're all people that most of them have lost someone in the Holocaust, either a good friend or a family member or their kids or their parents or something. Everyone is burned on this just to the T. They have absolutely no sympathy for the Germans' lives, period. And so that is what builds a lot of this tension, not just between Oscar Isaac and Ben Kingsley, but the whole team and trying to do this and how bad everyone just wants to pull this guy out and just murder him in the streets.
Yeah.
But they can't, because as they point out repeatedly from the start, when they first start going after Ben Kingsley's character, is that they want to make an example of him. And one of the things that in the special I was watching on this, the before we started doing our pod here, was that the guy was guilty. There was no question about that. No one was even going to doubt that. But the biggest purpose of the trial, that a lot of the people that they interviewed in this, that they wanted, that made the biggest impact, was having the Holocaust survivors that were in these camps testify basically on a world stage.
Yeah.
About these atrocities. And that opened the world's eyes to really what happened.
Yeah, because they broadcast the trial live in 1962, I believe.
Yeah, I think so.
And up until that time, no one had heard these first-person accounts of the Holocaust from the survivors.
Right. It was all people, that knew someone or heard someone, or the soldiers coming back and talking about it. This was first-hand accounts of these atrocities. I mean, to hear these people crying and bawling their eyes out and just, this is what happened to my dad and this is what happened to my... I mean, that's just... wow.
Yeah.
So, all right. I guess to get off on a little bit lighter note. So, Mike, how does Operation Finale relate to the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
Oh, Matt, I'm glad you asked. The cinematographer for Operation Finale, Javier, I'm probably going to butcher his last name, Aguirre-Road. Yeah, I messed that up. But the cinematographer for this movie also was the cinematographer for Thor Ragnarok.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Well, and also the other really big tie, too. That's easier than that.
Oh, I guess Ben Kingsley was in Iron Man.
Yes, sir.
Man, I forgot about that. I didn't even look at jeez. Man.
It's okay. It's okay.
I was looking for the hard... I'm done.
No, you're not dumb. You just did your homework instead of taking the easy way out.
Right. Well, for the next movie, I took the easy way out.
All right, fine. But yeah, Ben Kingsley was in Iron Man 2? Or was that Iron Man 3?
I think it was 3.
Was it 3?
I think 2 was the one with the electric arm, or the guy, what's his name? The wrestler,
yes.
He played the wrestler?
Yeah, Mickey Rourke.
Yeah,
Mickey Rourke.
I think that was number 2.
Yeah, you're right. So it would have been number 3. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Oh, Matt, were you able to use your Movie Pass on the Movie Pass drama update?
On Operation Finale, no, I was not, because Operation Finale isn't even at the Movie Pass movie locally in Prescott. It is only at Harkins.
Oh, okay.
So, and I guess I can reveal, hopefully he does what I asked him to do as he was hugging me and kissing me goodbye.
Wait, are we talking about
Thursday.
your dog?
No.
Who else hugs and kisses you goodbye?
This is our former founder / co-host of the podcast that literally lasted one day of the podcast, or 3 episodes, Mr. Seth Marquardt.
Oh.
his final day in the Prescott area, at least for the foreseeable future, was Friday of last week. We went and saw Operation Finale together as kind of a little goodbye on Thursday evening. And Seth does not go to Picture Show here. He hates Picture Show because of their popcorn. He is a massive, massive fan of Harkins popcorn. He thinks Harkins is the best place in town to go see a movie because of the popcorn.
Nice. What are your opinions of the popcorn?
I don't eat a whole lot of popcorn. I did eat some with Seth because he went and get the giant tub, and then he dumped it into a couple of the little trays, and then he filled it up right there, and he polished the whole thing off, and I had a little bit of, one of the trays, and he polished the other tray off. He loves his popcorn.
Nice.
But
okay.
I do think Harkins popcorn is better than Picture Show's. I agree.
Oh, all right.
It tends to be fresher. Picture Show tends to pop it and let it sit there. Harkins is, so many people are getting popcorn there, or maybe they just don't overcook how much they want to have, and they're always cooking it. It seems like it's always fresh, no matter when you go.
Yeah, well, that's a good thing. That's a good place.
So Seth and I went and saw this movie together as kind of his final farewell, and I asked him to record a little something and give us a little his take on this film and to send it over to me. And hopefully he will do that. And if he does, I'm going to stick it at the end of our podcast here. And so you guys hopefully will get a farewell from Seth, even though he was only on 3 episodes.
Oh.
But he is the founder of this. He is one of the inspirations that made me want to start this thing. So
yeah. Okay. Yeah, no, that's very cool. That I'm looking forward to that myself.
But just best wishes, Seth and Dallas. Enjoy it. Have fun. Stay out of trouble.
Yeah. Stay out of trouble. Have fun. I love Texas. It's good.
It has its pros and cons. I'm not a huge fan of the humidity, but
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's definitely not your something you like.
No, I struggle with it quite a bit. But I still want to go to Austin, man. One of these days, I want to get to Austin.
Yeah, we got to go for, what's that one festival that you wanted to go to?
Oh, dude, South by Southwest.
Yeah, we got to go to that one day.
And if we go to it now with having a podcast, we could write it all, off. Because, 1/3 of South by Southwest is movies.
Oh, yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, it's a film festival. So that would be pretty freaking awesome. One of your favorite movies is it this year? I think it was this year. A Quiet Place debuted at South by Southwest.
Oh yeah, it did. Yeah.
Yes, sir, it did.
Yeah, no, they do screenings there often of different kinds of movies. Sometimes just to figure out if the audiences are going to like it and stuff, and they might even cut the movie a little bit differently depending on how the reactions are.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So, all right, Mike, anything else you want to add about Operation Finale?
Nope. I liked it quite a bit, and I'm somewhat surprised that we were able to get out of here without talking about Star Wars. So, on that note...
if you want, I can talk about Star Wars and Oscar Isaac and his role in Star Wars and how Rian Johnson... and his latest debacle about how his trilogy was announced that it was going to be canceled, and I was very excited for that. And then they announced a couple days ago that no, that was just a big ruse. Really just kind of sank my heart. How's that?
All right. Well, I guess on that,
everybody loves Poe Dameron. I mean, come on, Mike.
Yeah. No, you're right. I love Poe. That's I have a sticker. I love Poe on my car.
Dude, I believe it.
All right.
And although it's probably a Raven sticker that says I love Poe instead of Poe Dameron. You love Edgar Allan Poe.
Yeah, whatever. Poe this, Poe that.
It's because you're so dark and ominous.
Right. Yes, that's it.
Oh, wait, that's me.
So, with all that, Matt, how many reels do you give Operation Finale?
I want to give it a little bit more, but I'm not going to because of the 2 things I pointed out. but I give Operation Finale 4 out of 5 reels.
Ah, damn it, Matt. That's exactly what I was going to say. I give it 4 out of 5 reels, too. I really liked it.
I was teetering between 4.5 and 4, but those two things I pointed out that just kind of got on my nerves is what got rid of that half point.
No. Okay. Hey, that's fair. Yeah, it's a great movie. I think people should see it. They don't necessarily need to see it in the theater, but you should definitely see this movie because it's historical and it's a neat story.
Yes, I agree. I feel that this is one that you do not want to pass up. If you have the money or have the time and can go see it in the theater, it will be worth it. It's not big explosions and nothing like that, but I just love going to the theater. So I think it's well worth going to. But if you can't, or you can't afford it, or you're not going to make it, and you want to wait till it comes out on Netflix or Amazon or whatever in 6 months or 8 months, then wait. Because you'll still really get a lot out of it if you watch it at home. It's a very good film.
Yeah. No, I concur.
All right. Well, on that note, I guess I don't really have anything else to add. I don't know if you do. I mean, it's the history behind this film. I is fantastic. I would like to see more stuff based on history, film-wise. I think last year was a good year. We had Dunkirk. We had The Darkest Hour, among many other fine historical films, but those two are the biggest. This year, I think Operation Finale so far is probably the biggest historical film that's come out. And I really enjoyed it, and I like this trend. Now, it doesn't have to always be World War II based, but I just think something in the past 100 years really just kind of hits home. Because, say if my grandfather was still alive, I could go sit down and ask him about the war and things like that. And, that generation's going, and a lot of the generations are going, and this is a good way to pass these very, very important stories on to the next generation.
Yeah, definitely.
So, all right. Well, on that note, I don't have anything else. Mike, you got anything else?
Nope, I have nothing else. So, I guess with that, I'm just going to say thanks for listening, everybody.
Thank you for listening to The Real Film Nerds. Now, don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Real Film Nerds. Now, go out and catch a movie.